Well, a very good morning from Phuket, and today is the 26th of March. Apologies for not bringing you an update yesterday on the 25th. I was trying to, but unfortunately there was some news that was released, an announcement that was released quite late yesterday evening, and I didn't want to preempt and announce the news until I'd verified it, because there were some conflicts on different foreign media outlets to exactly what the announcement was and what it entailed. I couldn't confirm it, so I didn't want to release the news in haste. I want to be sure that anything now that I'm posting on my channel or any of my social media is as accurate as I can possibly be. So apologies for that. I will get to that news shortly. It hasn't still been sorted out, so there is some conflicting information regarding it, and I will go through that. But first of all, what I want to do this morning is to go through yesterday's figures, because of course I didn't do the totals on the day before yesterday. I forgot to do the actual totals for the country. So I've got a few notes in front of me just to help jog my memory, because there's a lot of things changing. I know there's a lot of people watching my channel at the moment and also sending me messages. Again, thank you very much for all the comments and well wishes, and of course I wish everybody around the world to be safe and their families also to be safe. So as from yesterday, the totals for the whole of Thailand now stands at 934. Of course this is going to change today. Yesterday's totals, just the one day, was 107, so 107 new cases. 3 of those were in Phuket, which now brings Phuket's total to 29. Of course, there are still cases pending. There are still cases that are waiting for results of testing to come back, so we are expecting these numbers to go up. So that's the totals as it stands at the moment for the whole country, up to date, 934. Now moving forward onto other announcements that were made. Of course, yesterday midnight, or last night at midnight, the state of emergency has now come into effect, and that will run until the 30th of April. The other big news that was announced yesterday, some of you may have already seen this, that Thailand has now closed its borders to foreign visitors. And what this basically means is no foreign visitors, regardless of whether you have the health certificate and insurance. You will not be permitted to enter Thailand at this time. The only people that can enter Thailand currently are Thai nationals, and they will need a certificate, what they're calling fit to fly, which needs to be certified by the Thai embassy. I read that this morning because I wanted to double check the information. So Thai nationals are going to need a certificate called fit to fly, and it needs to be verified by their own Thai embassy in whichever country you're traveling from back to Thailand, of course. So again, I would strongly recommend any Thai nationals that are watching my channel that are intending to come back to Thailand to check the embassy websites to see the necessary information, the updated information as it comes in, to know exactly what you need to do. The problem that we have at the moment in Thailand is, of course, the initial announcements are always released in Thai, and then the announcements are translated over into English. And this is where misunderstandings can occur, because obviously sometimes the translation is not as accurate as it needs to be, and there is a misunderstanding in what they are referring to or meaning. And this is where an announcement that I'm going to get to shortly has caused confusion. The problem that you're having, of course, is countries all around the world are changing their entry requirements every day. So it's making it very difficult now for airlines to know the necessary requirements flying from one country to another. Each country's got its own different requirements, so it makes it very difficult to know whether they can fly there or not. My best advice would be, if you have an upcoming flight, then you really need to either speak to the airline urgently to check whether they are still flying to that country and that flight is still available or has been cancelled. Secondly, you can always go on their website. They have a long list of outbound flights to different countries, and they list all the requirements you are going to have to meet to be able to fly from here to that particular country, wherever it may be. So this is something now that you really need to be checking with the airline, not looking on social media, because again, lots of conflicting reports. I'm seeing constant posts now of all different types of information that's very, very difficult to confirm or dispute. So many people out there are getting confused, and I totally understand, because even for me now, taking a lot of time looking into what has been commented and seeing whether I can verify that comment, it is very, very difficult. And I'm doing it either on government websites or the official websites for the companies to see whether I can verify that information, and sometimes it's just simply not there, so I can't verify it. So it does make it very difficult. So I would strongly urge people now to double check, if not triple check, everything, not just take people's word for it on social media, because it's getting very, very confusing. People are reposting posts that are already inaccurate, and it's just causing a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of misleading information. Now, according to the media, there is going to be a restriction on movement coming into place. Now, the Thai government have said this is not a curfew. No curfews in place currently, but there is going to be a restriction of movement from today, starting from 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. in Bangkok. This is of course to curb the spread of the virus, and they're hoping that people will abide by this ruling. The media are calling it a curfew, but the government are not. So again, misleading information. Now, the big announcement that we had last night, or the announcement, should I say, that was late coming in that I couldn't confirm, the governor of Phuket asked for cooperation, was the initial announcement, of both foreign and Thai tourists currently staying in Phuket to stay in their accommodation from the hours of 5 p.m. till 12 midnight. And the reason why this was being asked yesterday, I don't know how long this is going to run for. Again, I can't confirm exactly the information. The reason why it's being requested is because of all the entertainment venues in Phuket, and especially in Patong being closed, the bars, etc. People are now gathering on Patong Beach in large numbers, and this again is not what people need to be doing. I understand people want to find and make their own entertainment, but the reason why these venues have been closed is to stop large gatherings of people. And if people are now going to move to the beach and gather in large numbers on the beach, drinking and eating, it sort of defeats the whole object of what the government is trying to do. So this is why this announcement was released. However, one media source said the local government here in Phuket were asking for cooperation, and another media source had said that the local government were imposing a curfew. Now, of course, asking for cooperation is different to a curfew. If you're asking somebody for cooperation, it is down to the individual whether they decide to cooperate or not. However, a curfew is something a lot more stricter, and they expect people to do exactly what they're asking. So there is some discrepancy there, and I'm not quite sure what exactly was true and what wasn't, because there were differing reports, and I still haven't been able to find out the exact initial statement, how it was announced. I will be looking into it again today, of course. Well, I think that takes me up to date at the moment. Now, yesterday afternoon, I decided to go out and take a ride around. Of course, being on the bike, the motorbike, I'm not in close contact with anybody. I wanted to see exactly what people were doing, whether they were taking the current situation here in Thailand seriously, whether I could see people taking any simple precautions, whether there were businesses still open and trading, or whether businesses had closed down as the government has asked. So I took a ride around my local adjacent areas to see what the position was, visiting several beaches around the island, and I was very disappointed that I couldn't see any obvious signs of very simple, basic measures being taken to protect people and themselves at this time, which was a little bit worrying. People were going about their day-to-day life life as normal. And if you wasn't aware of the situation in the world currently, then looking at Phuket yesterday, you wouldn't have known that it wasn't any ordinary day of the year without the situation going on. I couldn't see people taking any sort of precautions. In fact, very few people were wearing any mask protection. Again, I will mention that there's controversy over the face masks. I do understand that about their effectiveness, but for sure, if people have the virus and they are wearing the mask, then it is going to help stop the spread, because of course when people are coughing, etc., they're not going to be coughing into the atmosphere, they're going to be coughing into the mask. So it's going to help. It's certainly not going to make it worse. I would have thought that more people would be taking precautions. Again, I know there's a shortage of masks over here, so that could be a reason, I don't know, but it didn't appear that there were simple precautions. There were still people gathering on the beach, again in groups. I hadn't noticed any of the sun loungers being moved further apart. They were still at the standard sort of position that they've always been at, and I would have thought that they would have now been moved further apart, away from each other, so that people are not sitting so closely. I also noticed that there are now lots of businesses, of course, closed, but there are also businesses that were clearly operating, clearly open, that should have been closed, that I noticed that were on the government list that should be closed. So there are still businesses taking advantage and not closing down. Now, of course, I realise it's a difficult position to police. I'm not sure how they are going to police this issue, but the government have give out very stern warnings to people and businesses that if they break the law, break the rules that are currently in place, they will incur very severe fines and penalties, and also can face imprisonment up to 1 year. It really would be in the best interest of businesses to close now if they are on that list. The roads were a little bit more quieter. I will say that when I was riding around there wasn't as much traffic, but in areas such as the beaches, to me the beaches seemed like they do on any normal day. So that is a little bit concerning. Of course, people are allowed to move around. There is no restriction at the moment on movement. The government are asking people to distance themselves, social distancing, stay home as much as possible. But of course, the weather at the moment in Thailand is very hot here. It's 34 degrees. Yesterday it was 34 degrees, and it also now, I'm looking outside and it's looking like it's going to be another beautiful, very hot day here in Phuket. So of course, people don't want to stay indoors. But if you're going to go out, then definitely you need to take some simple precautions, distance yourself from people, maybe wear masks if possible. You can get hold of the masks. Things like this is definitely going to help to curb the spread of the virus, and at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. Well, I think that's brought me right up to date for the time being. I will try and post again very soon. I am trying to do it daily, but of course you will have to bear with me because I have to wait for the information to come through, and then I need to double check this, if not triple check it, before I release it, because I don't want to be reporting incorrect facts, because people are relying on these facts, and I understand that. So once again, I would like to say thank you for watching the channel. I wish you all the very best. Stay safe, all the best to your families. I hope all your families, wherever they may be in the world, are also safe. Take precautions, and until next time, I will catch you on the next one.